our next guest, or our next speaker, is Dwain, and I have the privilege of working with Dwain Brandy, who works in one of our 52 academies. He works at Oasis Academy MediaCity, and he's doing such extraordinary grassroots movement work in sharing best practice and transferring knowledge across the trust. Thank you, Dwain.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that introduction. So I just want to start off with the last session. I presented a broad picture of how we aim to implement an anti-racist approach at Oasis Media City. And we looked into curriculum review and adaptation. We also looked into staff training in CPD, so that's all the anti-racist training, and also how to deal with racist incidents. We also looked into the student education side, which we're going to be touching on today, and the leadership and management, which is the behaviour policies and recruitment, what we've just been spoke about, and also community. I do want to just highlight community today because I failed to mention some of this during the last session. 1 second, I'll switch that slide. So there has been a significant increase in racist incidents in schools in the UK. There was a recent survey which was commissioned by the Diana Award, which is an anti-bullying organisation, and it mentioned that in 1 in 4 schools, racism has got worse since lockdown. Now, nearly a third has actually said, for those who were participating in the surveys, that they actually heard, racist abuse within their lifetime, and also 24% noticed a rise in racist bullying just before and during the lockdown. That is a cause for concern, and I just want to say how that links into our approach. So the main focus for us is to make sure that students feel safe in school, in and out of school. And implementing an anti-racist approach, we've had to reshuffle the deck a little bit in terms of our short-term plan since returning back since lockdown number 1, to actually review our behaviour systems and reinforce our community links. I just want to talk a little bit more about our demographics. So I work at Oasis Academy MediaCityUK. It's a mixed gender school, 900 pupils on the school roll. And the demographic of this school, before we became academised in 2006, were predominantly white British. But as you can see for the diagram, we've actually relocated to Odsal when we became Oasis Academy. Now, within 10 years, the demographics of the school has changed significantly. There's 30% of students who are from a Black and global majority background. I use that term instead of BAME or BME. And yes, basically, because of that dynamic shift, that has started to lead to an investigation to community cohesion, because if you're not proactive in community cohesion, again, you won't be able to reinforce those positive links in terms of relationship with different children and different students. So what we've done straight away is we have reviewed and adapted our own behaviour policy to tackle racist discrimination, because we're not exempt from these statistics. So with the victims, what we've done, we've gone through a trauma-informed response, very important, through the lens of safeguarding, and we're treating this as an ACE, and it's reported as a hate crime. So it's to make sure that they feel protected, they feel safe within the local community and within school as well. We have plans as well next term to work with grassroots organisations such as Kids of Colour, who are fantastic. They're a platform for young people to explore race and identity and culture and challenge institutionalised racism. So again, that's a fantastic framework to support the young people who have actually been on the receiving end of racist abuse. There's a safe space, what we currently have as well, so they can discuss these concerns to do with race, identity and culture as well. And that's a weekly session. So again, it's very important to have those safe spaces so they can actually discuss these things. And this leads the narrative of student voice, which I'm going to discuss in a bit, and how that can inform an anti-racist plan with these different sections or different sectors. And also regular contact with parents. So welfare checks, even home visits, even at this stage during COVID-19, to discuss any concerns in and out of school, keep them updated with upcoming meetings and interventions. So it's just to keep that secure link with parents and keep them in the loop of what we're doing. However, for the perpetrators, obviously there's going to be school sanctions, but when they return to school, there will be meetings with SLT and the police discovering the severity of the crime and the impact of the victims. Also, there's going to be a new signing of a home academy agreement, which is bespoke for these young individuals to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and the parents are accountable as well for their actions. The incident is also referred on to social services, and it's all about the education side. There's no point just being punitive and going through these school sanctions without educating, because we'll never break the cycle. So therefore, we've got hate crime interventions with the local PCSOs. They actually do it for about 6 weeks with these young people who have been involved in racist incidents. And also, there's interventions with these young people who have been, as in the perpetrators, with experienced youth workers. Now, these youth workers, they actually specialize in preventing students from going into far-right extremism and also into organized crime groups. So hopefully that'll make an impact when that gets introduced next term. And if we have to, we're not going down this route, but there's also prevent for far-right extremism if we have to as well. So community is very important. It's important not just to view the school, home, and community as isolated from one another. That's important for me, and also the school. We need to start thinking how they interconnect with each other so we can get a holistic picture. So we actually have weekly meetings with the community strategy team in Salford, and that includes the neighbourhood development officers, youth services, local agencies that focus on online safety, and also crime and antisocial behaviour updates. This gives a holistic picture for inside and outside the academy to dealing with racist discrimination that's happening outside the academy and that might creep in. So that's very important. So I just wanted to discuss the importance of community and what we've been doing short term, working a plan. What I want to discuss now is student education. So last time when we had this event, I mentioned that we worked with a working party of 30 practitioners who were really involved with driving the actual approach of anti-racist planning in our school. They actually helped us come up with the 5 different sections, what you can see here. However, to gain a deeper insight, it's very important to get the views of the pupils. So I've done a mini case study investigating the perceptions of pupils regarding racism and community cohesion in the school. You'll be able to get that document and amend it if you do need it for your school. And as an outcome, they've actually come up with key strategies and milestones. So I've actually reshuffled the plan based on their feedback. So for example, there was one question asking, did they feel safe speaking to members of staff about hate crime? And one of the suggestions was to actually, within each bubble at the moment, in each year group, is to have some sort of post box where they can actually post in their concerns. And it's an anonymous process to make it a lot easier, just to make sure that they feel protected and there's no risk that they were going to get targeted. It's a fantastic idea, but again, they've started to drive the narrative in terms of what we're going to be doing in the next stages. There's various other recommendations as well, but I'll go through that another time. Now, student leadership. When we're talking about student education, we've got a student leadership team that has been developed, and there's 3 different strands. There's student council, charity and fundraising events, but I want to talk about diversity champions. So diversity champions was a scheme developed by the University of Manchester, Catherine Milan in particular, who actually developed this. So pupils can become ambassadors for equality and diversity. We've started to carry this on because we've had the training for the last couple of years, and they will be driving an anti-racist approach in the school. They're currently being trained at the moment into key aspects to do with anti-racism. However, we're looking to get interventions with kids of colour as well, so they can start talking about cultural aspects and start driving that and becoming ambassadors for the younger students and students within their year groups. They will also be looking into various different topics throughout the years and working in these projects such as Refugee Week, mental health, environment, etc., to ensure that they're running these projects. And again, equality and diversity champions will be one of the forefront of our anti-racist plan communicated by our students. I also mentioned last time to assign Black coaches and mentors to Black students, just for the different career paths. We've done that in October. We launched it in Black History Month. And what happened is we worked with the University of Manchester and the AIM Higher scheme through the month of October, which was very successful. So we looked into the underrepresentation of African and Caribbean heritage in certain disciplines in the University of Manchester. So We actually worked with the Faculty of Biology, Medicine and Health, looking into optometry, dentistry, medicine, pharmacy, psychology. And we had a group of Black students during this time who were interested in these career paths. And we had talks from postgraduates and undergraduates in terms of how to get into this field. And that's a long-term plan to keep in touch. So again, there's some mentorship, but we're looking to expand this as well to students of Black and global majority background as well, so we can get that representation. It is an aspirational plan, guys, but we are working it, and there's 5 different strands. Last but not least, I just want to talk about some fantastic work what's being produced at Oasis Academy. This is from Hamza Patel, who is the science lead, and we have started to slowly decolonize the curriculum by not just relying on Black History Month, but making sure we get Black and global majority contributors within the subjects all the time. So it's drip fed throughout the year group. So this is an example of a scheme of work for science with the topics you can see there with the Black global majority. The titles need to be changed in terms of something appropriate that will represent Black and African and Asian heritage. But we're using BAME at the moment, that's on this slide. But what I would just want to highlight is the fantastic work done, where they're highlighting fantastic contributors into the subjects, into the fields. And they're not just ancient, the modern day practitioners who have actually influenced and contributed towards that field. And it's the same with various other subjects such as design technology and maths and English as well, where we start to review the text and to make sure that it's accessible and inclusive for our students. That's my time, everyone. So thank you very much. And back over to you. Thank you, Timmy.
Thank you very much, Dwain. That's really brilliant. And what we're going to